Joabe.
It's a little bit crazy. You're suddenly blurry now. I wonder if anything was real. All our history's hazy, like driving in the pouring rain. Are we in too deep to heal? You tell me that you're sorry, we'll make up tomorrow. Tell me everything you know I wanna hear. I'm trying to be open, but that window is closing. And either way, I need to make it clear before we're leaving here. Before we're leaving here.
I know it ain't easy, but there's something left to hold on to. We can work it through, you don't have to go. There's a future here with me. We'll find the light in a clouded room. Not giving up until you know.
You tell me that you're sorry, we'll make up tomorrow. Tell me everything you know I wanna hear. I'm trying to be open, but that window is closing. And either way, I need to make it clear before we're leaving here. Either way, I need to make it clear before we're leaving here.
Yeah, and shalom, everyone. Shalom. I want to welcome everyone to the house of the Lost Sheep of Israel. And today we're going to be going through the book of Proverbs. And we're going to be looking at that in the etymology study as we're going through here to get a better understanding of what thus said the Lord as we was going through the book of Proverbs. And before we get started, the same thing we got to do our due diligence as we normally do to where we did this to the Church of Christ, where we already know where Ozan and that Henry Stevenson guy, they already pretty much, they just gave up because they already know they can't answer that 33 AD question. Even though it has some other to it, but they already pretty much gave up because they already even announced it. They wasn't going to even go after it based on saying they already know what it is, but they don't want the money. However, they showed you exactly on what they are and what they're about, and that they pretty much just been lying to you the entire time. And any Church of Christ said that they started in 33 AD. So same thing is, we got to keep it up for the remainder of the time of the 30 days that's what's allotted for this, and we're going to see what's going to happen between that and that time. But until then, this sits there to where any one of them can come. We can ask any of the 3 times, and we can give them any year. And within that time or that time frame of that year, they need to tell us who was the list of elders of that church, and they need to be able to tell us the location on which they were resided, to where we can check it and we can know exactly through history that they was there and who they spoke about. But we already know these things are not true, so we know that clearly they were just lying to people in the Bible. And the Bible was always stand to be true. But the main thing people really need to really pay attention to, the easiest question is ask them where 33 AD came from, because it don't show you, that don't even show in the Bible. But they say it started in 33 AD, which they cannot prove that either. But that's what they say, and that's what they hold to. But the main thing is, we looking at this here, we going to be going through what this is in Proverbs. We need to look at this as a closer look and find out what it's saying. So last week we had left off at verse 13, and we were going into 14. So we need to pick that up and start going through it, so when we get ready to go in the back, we can go and make sure we can get all the precepts to it. But then also we do have another announcement that we're going to be doing in the back before we do it in the front, to which people can join to, which I'm pretty sure we're going to have a lot of people trying to join to it. But once we actually get it out, then they'll just have to wait to the next session for that to happen. So if you want to see what's going on, some people already know, because we announced some stuff in the back where we did that on yesterday. But it'll be open to anyone. It's open to anyone to where they can join to it, to where they can help with it. But you have to come to the back to get the understanding, because once it's short in the front, people are going to already be tied to it. So what we're going to do, we're going to get started. We're going to look at Proverbs, and we're going to remember where we left off at verse 13. We left off at verse 13, but we were going into 14. So we just want to look at that a little bit and find out what was happening there on this scripture. So when it says, happy is a man that findeth wisdom. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, including the man that getteth understanding. So this is where we left off at. We finished this up and we went through it. But as a follower of Christ, we should be happy. As a follower of Christ, we should be very happy to have found true wisdom and getting understanding of the Spirit of God. That's one thing we need to make sure each and every one of us should be thankful for. And we will always make sure that when we look and we study, we will not only find favor with God, but we'll find favor also in the sight of God and man when we do this, because the man gonna let you know who he is. And that's what we were saying with this here. So when man finds wisdom, he gets understanding. And that's why we paid close attention to what we was looking at over here with Psalms chapter 19 and verse 4 and 104, because it says, and through thy precepts. So it's through thy laws, it's through thy commandments I get understanding. Through that, I get understanding. Through those things, I get understanding on this. This is what we like when we do that. So through thy precepts, through thy laws, and through thy commandments, I get understanding. Therefore, I hate every false way. That's what it's saying. So through thy precepts, I get understanding, and therefore I hate every false way. Because the precepts is talking about the laws and the commandments of God, and through him we get the understanding on what we need to know. Precepts in the commandments and using what man like to use is not giving you no understanding of God. So using precepts of God helps us to understand the right ways we need to go. That helps us with the right way to go. So we should be happy that we have found these. And with that, we go into what we're going to be looking at is verse 14. And that's where we need to go. So verse 14, it says this. It says, for the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, including the gain thereof than fine gold. So this is the main thing. In 1 second. And next time that guy put that up there, and the words are not fuzzy, but it could be his connection. But next time Deacon Q, he do that, just go ahead, put him on a timeout or remove him from the class. Because this, we can't keep going on. Because I can actually see the screen. And what most people don't know, I can see the screen and it's coming through fine. So it could be on the end. So if he having a problem, that's on his end. That's not on my end. So if he do that again, then just remove him from the class. So the main thing is this. As it's showing you that, you see that with this here, and you see in verse 14, it's saying that it is better than gold. It's better than silver. This clearly letting you know what's happening. And when you see this here, I want to show you something that's really important on how this actually works. Because making the wisdom of God, when you have the wisdom of God, you have the wealth of heaven. You have the wealth of heaven that's there. And that's the same thing that we need to make sure you're paying attention to on this. You're having the wealth of heaven on all things. So when you do this, and you go through these things, and you sitting there, you try to weigh the things here on earth, weighing them with the things in heaven, it makes no sense. It absolutely makes no sense whatsoever. And when you look at this, we'll see how this actually all works out. We're going to see something. I'm going to pull you over to another part here. And we're going to look over here on another part. We're going to look at Romans chapter 11, where we're going to pick it up at verse 33. Romans 11, verse 33. Because we got to remember, things that are of the earth is temporal, but things that is of heaven is eternal. So wealth here on earth is temporal, but wealth in heaven is eternal. These things are eternal, and that's what we want to make sure we paying really close attention to. So let's look over here in verse 33 and see what it says. It says, and we're looking at this one right here. It says, O depth of the riches, both of the wisdom, including knowledge of God, how unsearchable are his judgments and his ways past, finding out. Well, we want to get the better understanding on this here. We want to get the better understanding on this here. The knowledge of God, we got to remember, he has an endless, countless knowledge. And most men, what they'll sit there and do, and what they'll try to do is they say they get the knowledge of God, but they'll go to temples, they'll go to libraries, they'll go to all these places, thinking they can get all the knowledge of God, which is it's unsearchable. So he's not going to contain this in a building. He's not going to contain this in a library. He's not going to contain this in something that's made with hands whatsoever. This is what he's telling you right here. This is what we have to clearly get. In fact, when you look over here in this one, you'll see in this pane where you see in Acts chapter 7 in verse 48, it says, howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands, saith the prophet. He don't dwell in temples that made with hands. It wouldn't make no sense where you're going into a temple and you trying to get the knowledge of God in a building. You're trying to get the knowledge of God in this place. He said he don't dwell in temples made with hands. We're just sitting there stagnant. So if nobody goes in the temple, there's no knowledge of God going out. If nobody going in the library, nobody getting anything going out. These are things we got to think about. In fact, you look at this and that knowledge as it came down, we see right here in Wisdom of Solomon. We're going to look at this in chapter 18, verse 15. Chapter 18, verse 15. It says, the almighty word leaped down out of heaven, out of thy royal throne as a fierce man of war into the land of the midst of destruction. This is where it came from. So this is where we need to focus on and what we need to make sure we're paying attention to. Because that's what came down. That's what came down. And what we take that upon us. We put that upon us. We make sure that upon us, we make sure that we putting this yoke upon us. In fact, if you look at this a little bit better, we're looking at this in Matthew chapter 11, verse 29, and then we're going to have a first conversation there. In 11:29, it says this. We're going to get down there, and it says, take my yoke upon you and learn of me. This is full thought. So we want to take that word and we want to put it upon us. We want to take that word and put it upon us. And he tells you, learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest. So this is what it's talking about. We're going to find rest on this word. And the main thing is, it's worth more than any other merchandise that is in the earth. That's why it says, for the merchandise is better than merchandise of silver, and of gain thereof than fine gold. It's worth more than all of them. And this is part of the problem on what a lot of us sit there and we look at. We always want to judge something, and we want to contrast it with things of God. Actually, I'm going to show you. See, we constantly go through here, but we don't look at or value the Word of God. That's one of our biggest problems. We never try to value, or we try to put a value on God based on money. I'm going to show you these things to what we're going to look at here, and we're going to see a little bit more. We're going to look at John chapter 6, but we're going to go down to verse 51. 6, and I want to take you to verse 51. And look at that there. He's telling you, he says, I am the living bread which came down from heaven. And we know that Christ came and rested on him, so Christ is the one speaking through this man, but he said he's the one that came down through heaven. He says, if any man eat, learn of this knowledge, this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread that I have given is my flesh, which I give for the life of the world. This is interesting, because the same thing he said what came down is the same thing which it just saying the word. That's why a lot of us always get mixed up when we deal with things like this, because we want to judge that against what man does. We want to judge this against what man does, because he's telling you right here in Luke chapter 8 and looking at verse 11, it says, now the parable is this, that the seed is the word of God, and he planted this in us. The seed is the word of God. And this is what they use to make the bread, and it's the yoke that we take upon ourselves to learn of God, making the bread. You don't do this in temples. Making the bread, how many people you have seen making bread in a library? How many people, I'm just saying, how many people you seen doing that? Because he's saying his word is better than the merchandise of fine silver or fine gold. But we're quick to go out to try to find other knowledge. We go into these buildings and same thing, and we hungry for the word. We starving for the word. But then the first thing is, hey, come over here. Hey, come over here. Come over here. Go to the library. Go to this church. And the Bible is clear all the time on what he's saying to do. But what we do, we just don't look at it, because we so hungry for knowledge, we run all over the place. But 1 Corinthians chapter 11, in verse 34, it says this, if any man hunger, let him learn at home. If you hunger, you learn at home. It says that ye come not together unto condemnation. Don't come together unto sinful thoughts and punishment and judgment. You don't want to come to those things. These are things you don't want to get into. But this is what he's telling you all the time. All the time we look at this, but what we do, we always want to find some other kind of way to learn some type of knowledge. And it makes no sense. It makes no sense that we constantly chasing. Just like people chase money, you constantly chasing this knowledge, constantly chasing knowledge. You're going from this place to that place. You're going from this place to that place because you're chasing constantly knowledge. This is where our problem is. And then when you're going into these buildings, we go in there and we looking for knowledge. We have these problems. So the same thing as it says, and we'll look at Sirach. We're going to look over here in this painting. We're going to look at Sirach chapter 29. And I'm going to take you over here to verse 1, verse 21. The reason why I want you to see something here, because it's saying this in verse 21. It says, the chief thing of life, the chief thing for life is water. It's knowledge. The chief thing for life is knowledge. It says including bread, understanding, and doctrine, including clothing. You need a covering. It says in a house to cover shame. The chief things you need in life. The chief things you need in life. But he's saying a little bit more because he says something real particular here in verse 22. It says, better is life of a poor man that in a means college than a delicate fare in another man's house. But we need to understand what that is saying. Because it's seeking something different. Because it's saying then a delicate, meaning cheerfully. So it's telling you, poor man means a college, then cheerfully, fair, prosperity or peace in another man's house. You meaning we having people who is getting rich off of somebody else, and we'll cheerfully go there while he's prospering off of us. It's telling you right in front of us. And we cheerfully go there while is in peace. He's being very prosperous in doing this. And the reason he's able to do this and get away with it, because he didn't build this house unto God. And I really want people to really pay attention to one thing. Because people sit there, God wants your money, God wants your 10%, he wants you to pay your tithes, he wants you to pay your offering. They're gonna put everything there. And God never asked for that. He never even required it. But the problem is they telling you, even right here, why are you going to do this to another man's house? Why? In fact, let's take this. We're just going to take it a step further. We're going to go to Hebrews chapter 3 and verse 4. It says, for every house is built by some man. That's a full thought. So the reason why we look at this, and why I really want you to pay real close attention to it, is when you see this, some man done did this. Some man done built this house. Some man built this house. And we sit there and we don't look at that for what it is. But some man built the house. And when these men build these houses, all you got to do is say, okay, let me write it out to God. Why you can't write it out to God? Because nobody know where God banks at. But they'll tell you, okay, we want you to take God. We want to do God's money because we're gonna do God's work in this house. Do what work? Do what work? Every week, God need money, and God say, "For all the earth is mine." And we don't look at that, and we don't second thought that. But we cheerfully make somebody else prosper, comfortable in the earth. But they saying they doing the work of God. And the most important thing all the time that you go there is always they need some money. Always. That's the most important. We need some money. We need some money. But every house is built to some man. Because God said, I don't dwell in these places that's made with hands. So if I'm not dwelling there, why are you giving there? If I'm not dwelling there, why are you going there? If I'm not dwelling there, why are you looking at this place as it's my place? Because I don't dwell in these places that made with hands. For every house is built by some man. And that's who you build in it too. In fact, if we go back over here and we look at this, going back to Romans, you can pick it up at Romans and look back at Romans 11:34, and it says, "For who have known the mind of our Creator?" Who have known the mind of our Creator? It says, or who have been his counselor? So we have to look for this, and we have to it's actually a question. And these questions provoke us to where we have to know what's going on. Who know the mind of the Creator? Has he charged us? We come here now. We got to pay taxes to him. As he came here, now we have to pay taxes to God. But these men is telling you that God requires us to do this. God requiring us to do this. This is what happens. See, because all of a sudden, who has he did this to? And who have been his counselor? Who has been God's counselor? See, when we look at this as a whole, these are just questions that's being asked. But we need to be able to answer them, because you having men going out in front of us telling us what God is wanting us. And they just said, "Well, I'm just a servant. God is requiring you to do this." In Isaiah chapter 55, we'll look at verse 8. It says this: "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Spirit of God." If you want to sit there, and the same thing as he said right here. So we know he's saying this, but we know what it says back over here in Proverbs. It says, "For merchandise is better than merchandise of silver, and the gain of fine gold." We know it says that. So since we know it says this, why are they asking for that? Why are they asking for gold and silver? His thoughts are not our thoughts. His ways not our ways. His things are not temporal. His things are internal. So why would he seek money in his temporal? Did anyone know that every so many years they destroyed the dollars and the 20s and the hundreds that's in circulation? They destroy them because they're temporal. They're not there to be set forever. They destroy them. But we don't sit there and look at that. So God is not going to seek eternal things. He's not going to he's not going to seek temporal things. Why do you think flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God? It's temporal. He can't use it. But the spirit is eternal. So all we have to do is sit back and think about certain things. God don't deal with nothing temporal. He don't want your money. He don't want your clothes. He don't want your car. He don't want your house. He don't want any of these things. They temporal. What are you going to do? He's an eternal God. What are you going to do with those? I want that G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip. Yeah, bring it over here into the eternal place. Really? He's an eternal God. And only eternal things goes on the eternal side. We really have to think about that. That's why when people sitting there saying, hey, God require you to give this money, God require you to do this thing, how? He wants you to do eternal things for eternal God. Let's look at something. And you'll see that we should not, you'll never see God seeking flesh, ever. You'll never see him seeking flesh. But let's go a little bit more on here. I want to take you a little bit more here. Let's look at something. We're going to go over here to Proverbs. And I'm going to take you down a little bit deeper on this other part here. We're going to go to Proverbs in chapter 3 and 31. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 31. We're going to keep this here where this is. So we're going to go to 331. And it says, envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. So what he's saying is something that's really going to kind of hit home for a lot of us, because it's telling you, envy not the oppressor and choose none of his ways, because for merchandise is better than the merchandise of silver and of gold. So the envy not the oppressor and choose none of his ways, because what we have to remember is this: that oppressor is of the flesh. It's of the flesh. The flesh will oppress you. That flesh will oppress you. And then you'll choose those ways. And everywhere where you've been oppressed, you have to remember, oppression has an end to it. Oppression has an end. Eternal do not have an end and do not have a beginning. But oppression by the oppressor has an end, and that's according to the flesh. So it's saying, and choose none of his ways. Don't choose none of the oppressor way. It's going to be temporal. So that flesh is temporal, and then it goes. So these things is whichever of the world. So if they part of the world, we don't want anything and hold on to what's going on in the world. We don't want what's going on in the world. In 1 John chapter 2, picking up at verse 15, it makes clear, elder. It says, trust not the world. Trust not the world. Love not the world. Trust not. Promise not the world. Don't trust the things in the world. They're temporal. These are temporal things that are here. And they has a payment that's tied to those. It's a payment that's tied to this. So he says, trust not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If a man trusts the world, the trust of the Father is not in him. Wow. Because you can't trust two masters. You're going to trust one and you're going to hate the other. One is temporal. One is eternal. That's why he's so serious about this. Because he's letting you know these temporal things is temporal, but these eternal things is forever. And that's why when we go back to Romans 11:35, it's telling us even clearer. It says, or who have first given to him including it shall be recompense unto him again. He's question marking that. Because the recompense meaning you're going to be rewarded, you're going to be paid for being a counselor to God. You see what I'm saying here? This is why if people are saying they're doing these things, this is making no sense. And it says more. It says, for of him and through him and to him all things, to whom be glory forever. Amen. So no one, because God is God and there is none else but God. So don't make no sense. We trying to counsel God. That's craziness. Telling people, okay, what God required. Like we counseling God. God, I'm gonna build you a edifice over here on 19th Street. God, I'm gonna build you a place over here on this street. See, when we do these things, we actually get ourselves in a lot more trouble than what we need to be doing. In Isaiah chapter 45, I'm going to show you something here. In chapter 45, we see this here in verse 5. It says this, and it makes this even more. It says, I am the Spirit of God. There is none else. I am the Spirit of God. There is none else. There is no God besides me. There is no other God besides me. And I'm going to tell you our biggest problem we have. The biggest problem we have today, we sit there and we hold people at these high-ranking positions. These high-ranking positions, all because of what they have. All because of what they have. This is part of our biggest problem. Part of our biggest problem in the world. Because we hold to it and don't think nothing about it. So what I'm saying is, you'll sit there and you'll put people at a position of God just because of the money they have. This is things we do. These are things we do with no problem. With no problem whatsoever. We have no problem doing this. So why do we do this? Why do we do this to ourselves? Meaning, one of the problems is we'll sit there and we'll think nothing about, say like if Bill Gates, we'll rank Bill Gates as a god. People will do that. People will rank Jeff Bezos as a god. They'll put them at God status. They'll put movie stars at God status. They'll put singers. They'll put athletes. They'll put all the football players, basketball. They'll put them at a God status. How? He's telling you there is no other God besides him. I gird thee, though thou hast not known me, because we quick to rank people along with God. Quick to rank people along with God. Let's go a little bit more. It says this, that they may have known from the rising of the sun and from the west, there is none besides me. I am the Spirit of God. There is none else. But we quick to put other people at those levels. We put stars and singers and anybody. We put them at those type of levels because all they have to do is have gold and silver of this world, and they all of a sudden they become a god. Same thing. I'm gonna show you a clip even on Lil Wayne. People rank this guy as a god. Rank this guy as a god. It's craziness. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about.
Hip-hop star Lil Wayne doesn't ordinarily give interviews, but Nightline's no ordinary broadcast. A controversial encounter with the rapper is already getting major attention on Twitter. Here's ABC's Lindsay Davis.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lil Wayne. He's a rapper whose lifestyle has all the trappings of a bona fide rock star.
I'm gonna marry him.
He's my...
From people about that. Would you change it, what you said, or
No,
you
not
still
at
feel the
all.
same way? What's your thought on Black Lives Matter?
What is it? What do you mean?
The idea was that there's this movement called Black Lives Matter, thinking that the rest of America didn't seem to understand that Black Lives Matter.
It just sounds weird. I didn't know that you put a name on. It's not a name. It's not whatever. It's somebody got shot by police and for up reason. I am a young, black, rich. If that don't let you know that America understands Black matter these days, I don't know what it is. Don't come at me with that dumb man. My life matter, especially to my.
Do you separate yourself?
So you see how you feel about it. As long as his life matters, that's all he worried about. Long as his life matters is all he worried about. And people will sit there, just like you seen some of the people sitting there, they had this man as a god status. But this is just not him. They do many people like this. Many people is done like this. So as it even saying here, he tells you, even when you get down into here, even when you get down into this, he tells you all these things that you got to remember and what we have to do. So let's go down and we're going to drop down to 46. Let's get down to 46 and get a little bit more. We're going to get a little bit more. Because he says this. He says, to whom will ye liken me and make me equal? Whom will you liken to him and make him equal to it? Do we really make the Jeff Bezos and the other people, we liken them unto him? Do we really do this? Do we really make these people and rank them right along with it? Do we really do that? But it's telling you, who you gonna liken unto him? Who you gonna make equal to him? And we would literally make these people, because we like them so much for whatever reason, we'll make, oh yeah, he's God status. Because he's telling people do this. He says, who will you liken unto make me equal and compare me that we may be like? He says more. He says, they lavish gold out of the bag and weigh silver in a balance and hire goldsmiths and maketh it a god. They fall down, yea, they worship. They worship. They worship. In verse 7 it says more, and they bear it up, put it on their shoulders, and carry him, and set him in his place, and they stand it in the place. Shall he move, say he not remove? Yea, one cry unto him, yet he cannot answer nor save him out of his trouble. People sit there and they're chasing. They know this image can't do anything. Can't do anything. So people put these people as gods. They put images as gods. They put images and they worship them as if they can do it. So whatever someone say, if they have that image there and say, well, I'll tell you what, this image is telling us this is what we have to do. They done made this image speak. This is what we do. In fact, look at, because all they have to do is have money. And we sit there, and he's saying his merchandise is better than this stuff. But we sit there, no, hold up, God, hold up. This is what we do. People say, no, I don't do, no, hold up, God, hold up. We ranking something. We have this issue. in Revelation chapter 13, verse 4. Makes it clear. It says, and they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worship. Just what it said over there in verse 7. And they worship. And it says, and they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Now you're holding the beast over God. Now you're holding him over God. Who is like this beast? Who is able to make war with him? He's a God to them. I don't care what it was. So they can sit there and make this God say whatever they want to say because you have somebody else controlling this guy. And it says, and where there are signs which unto him a mouth speaking great things, including blasphemies. Including blasphemies. Meaning vanities and falsehoods and contradictions of the words of Christ. And he can do this. And the worst part is, we seen one image that just was in the presidency 2 presidencies ago and spoke blasphemies against God. Everybody was cool with him. They thought he was a cool guy. And he said, I think it's bad for 2 of the same sex people should not be able to get married that love each other. Yeah, a lot of people, yeah, you're right. Why? Because you have him at a God status. So when he say these things, he speak these things against God. So as he's speaking them against God, the first thing we do, you went there, he got a point. He has a point. We allow it to go. You give him a pass. And he could speak these blasphemies, these things that is contradictory towards the words of Christ. Because the merchandise you see in the same thing, you have other people, you have stars and everything else, do all these things. You have one big lady star, she said there are many different paths to God. It's more than one path. Well, yeah, I'm going to tell you, she has a point. She has a point. Really, she has a point. She can speak all these blasphemies against your God, and you will sit there and try to reason with her. Yeah, she has a point. It says, in the power was given unto him to continue 42 months. It says, and he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God. You see it right there. Opened his mouth in blasphemy against God. And we would sit there and say, yeah, I guess it is okay. I guess it is okay. It's all right. See, we can't sit there and play this little game. Blasphemy goes out, and first thing we sit there and do, that is okay, because they got money. They rich. That's why you weighted against people who have those things and what he does. That's why he's weighing that. He says, for merchandise is better than merchandise of silver, and the gain of thereof than fine gold. But you said, wait a minute, hold it. I see this guy. They kind of loaded, God. What do you have? I see what they have. What do you have, God? So they can speak blasphemies against God because you're ranking them right along with God. In fact, it says to blaspheme his way, which his way, no, God, why can't people 2 of the same sex get married? Why can't 2 of the same sex people get married? The man is rich, so why, when he killed that person, why he has to go to jail? He's making good records. Why? He got money, so he should be able to fornicate. He should be able to have adultery. He has money. He's paying for it. So it's cool. All contrary to the word of God. But you will smooth it through and think nothing more about it. Because it's cool to you. Because he has money. And we see that it says, including his tabernacle and them that dwelleth in heaven. These things that happens, these things that we let go, these things we do these, and he can be totally against God. 100% against God. and we won't think nothing about it. Nothing about nothing. We don't think nothing about anything. And that's why he can speak to blasphemy against the ways of God. And we won't say a word. We want to be cool. We want to fit in. We got to fit in. But let's look back over here and we're going to look at something. In verse 46, we're going to pick it up at verse 8. It says, remember this, I show yourselves men. And show yourselves men, bring it again to mind, O ye transgressors. O you transgressors, O you with these sinful ways and these offenses and this rebellion, you done forgot the covenant of God. And God had a covenant with man in the earth. But guess what? Well, he got money. He has money, God, so God, we got to be cool. You know, God, he worth a few billion. He's worth a few $1 billion. And he's telling us right up front, remember this and show yourselves men, bring again to mind, O ye transgressors. They can't even do that. Because when a transgressor think they don't know they transgressing, they can do whatever they want. Because you don't even think they're transgressing. We sit right there and think, no, they got money, so no, it's not really transgression when you got money. They're not really transgressing. And we play this game with God. Because now they're going to play God. They got money, so now they're going to play God. And guess what? We still let them get away with it. We as a whole, people, this is black, white, Mexican, Asian. We as a whole, we let them get away with it. People say, well, I don't know what we don't let them. Yes, we do. As a whole, people in the world, we let the rich get away with whatever they want. Even though we're the majority. Meaning this, they play God. And people see they mix lions and tigers together. That's not possible in the wild, but they'll mix them. We're cool with it. Call them ligers. We're cool with it. You're not going to say anything. But money did that. We'll mix fish with another fish. We'll mix an animal with another animal. They mixing animals that you don't even see. They're mixing with people. Playing God. Playing God. But it's saying, bring again to mind, O ye transgressors. Bring this to mind. Playing God. See, when they have money, they can replace wisdom. See, it's the merchandise of the world, which is the silver and the gold, is being weighed against the merchandise of God. Think about that. We like to play this game. And you say nothing about it. We just look at, you ever notice how we'll sit there and we'll be on these social media platforms. And all you see people do, let me get my little comment in there. Oh God, I can't believe it. Oh, I'm appalled. I'm appalled at them. I can't believe it. That's the extent of your complaint. That's the extent of it. I'm appalled. Really. I said my 2 cents for the day. Click if you for God. Oh, let me click. I'm for God. I'm saying this for God. Really. Bring back these transgressors. They don't think they're doing anything wrong. But guess what? You keep your mouth shut. See, this is the issue with us. See, because God said something. See, God created these things. When he created them a certain way, we let people with wealth change it, and we say nothing. And then the first thing we want to do, we want to find the leader. You go out there and you tell them. You get out there and you tell them. Whatever he says, that's what I go with. See, We let wealth change the dynamic of the world. See, and remember this. I want you to see something, just to jog our memories. We're gonna go to Genesis chapter 1, and the reason I want to go to chapter 1 because I want you to see something there. And let me see if I can stop it from doing that. Let me go to Genesis chapter 2, and Genesis back to 1. But it says this, and I don't want to go all the way up. We're still moving. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start at verse 3. In verse 3 it says this. We're gonna see what God did. And God did this, but man tries to change it. Think about this. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 3, it says, and God said, let there be light, and there was light. God did that. God did that. My brother was telling me a joke the other day. He didn't finish the joke out, but I got what he was saying. He's sitting there saying, the man sitting there challenging God. And then as they're going on with the joke, God's talking about what he created. The man talking about he gonna create one too. So then the man proceeded to go over there to get some dirt. God said, no, get your own dirt. Get your own dirt. Don't get this dirt. Go get your own dirt. Make your dirt. Saying the same thing here. It says, God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw that the light was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day and called the darkness called night. And evening and morning was the first day. And God said, and God talking this. And God said a little bit more. God said, let the firmament be in the midst of the waters, and divided the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, again, he's talking, and God said, let the waters under the heavens gather together into one place, and the dry land appear, and it was so. And God called, let me see if it'll stop doing this right now. Let me see if it'll stop doing it. Let me see. I want to see if I can stop it from doing it. Let me see if I can stop it from doing it. If I can just get to 10, hopefully we can get to 10. If we get to 10, I'll start moving. So we got to wait till we get down some more. So it says God called the earth, called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called the seas, and God saw that it was good. And God said, ain't nobody with God. God said, let the earth bring forth grass and herb yielding seed, and fruit trees yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is within itself. But man then took those seeds out. Keep that in mind. Why? Money. And we're gonna get more with that. And so now man say, no, we don't want y'all reproducing. We're gonna control it. So we're gonna take the seed. We want fruit to grow without seeds. And guess what we do? Okay. All right. Okay. Same as the little girl said to Forrest Gump. Are we stupid or something? Yeah. We're stupid. Because we let them do it and we don't demand. So let's move forward. It says this. It says, and the earth brought forth grass, yielding seed after its kind, and yielding fruit, and whose seed was in itself, and after its kind, and God saw that it was good. He saw that was good. Man said, let's change it. And evening and morning was the third day. And God said, he's talking some more. Let the light in the firmament, and divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and seasons, and days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And God made two great lights, and the greater light to rule the day, the lesser light to rule the night. But we got a guy out there right now, Bill Gates, sitting there, he want to dim the sun. Guess what we say? He got money. Okay, let him do it. This is what we do. We good at doing it. Okay, well, he got money, let him do it. Besides sitting there as a whole, sitting there, no, we ain't gonna put up with your crap. We ain't gonna put up with your craziness. Either we're gonna make you get up out somewhere else, but no, we won't even stop buying his products. Keep buying his product, just make the man richer. But anyway, let's keep moving forward. And to rule the day and over to rule the night, and divided the night, the darkness, and God saw that it was good. But guess what? Bill Gates say, it ain't good, I'm gonna change it. And then in the evening and morning was the fourth day. But it gets better. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly moving creatures that have life, and the fowls that may fly above the earth and in the open firmament of heaven. And God created great whales and every living thing, creatures moving upon the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good. It was good, but guess what? Man decided to change it, and we sitting there since they got money. Oh, cool. Go ahead and do it. See, this is what we do. I'm just showing you what God did and how man say, I'm going to change it. But watch what goes on. Verse 22. God blessed them, saying, be fruitful, multiply, and fill the waters and the seas, and let the fowls multiply the earth. And even in morning was the fifth day. God said, let's bring forth every living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping things and beasts of the earth, after his kind, and it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth, and after his kind, and cattle in their kind, after every creeping thing that creep on earth, after his kind. And God saw that it was good. But guess what? We let man sit there. They want to play scientists. They want to play scientists. And once they play scientists, guess what we say? See, all we got to keep saying is, guess what? We say, okay. No, let me go to Facebook. I can't believe they doing that. See, I done said what I done voiced my opinion. Telling you, we can't get out our own way. But watch this. He said this. He says, and God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowls of the air, over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creep upon the earth. And God created man in his own image. In the image God created he him, and male and female created he them. And he gave them wisdom. And God said unto them, be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowls of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth. And watch what happens. Just hold up, because we're getting ready to see a problem. And God said, remember. See, we went out playing. We went outside to play. But that's okay. You're going to see what happened. He said, I have given you every herb bearing seed, and which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree in the which of the fruit of the tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for doctrine, for meat. But that's for understanding, for knowledge. But we can't even hold on to that, because we ain't bright enough to do it. Watch what he says. And he says, and every beast of the earth, and every fowl of the air, and every creeping thing that creep upon the earth, and give life, and I have given every green herb for meat, and it was so. Now here's a problem. And God saw everything that he had made, and remember, it was very good. It was very good. But guess what? Man didn't change it. And guess what? We sit there and say, well, I guess it's okay. He changed it. It's okay. It's good. It's cool. I'm telling you, we can't get out our own way. Everything he did, man changes it. And guess what we say? God said it was very good. Man said, no, I'm going to make it better. God said it's good, and it's very good, but I'm going to make it better. Told you, we can't get out our own way. God did something. No, I'm going to make it better. I'm going to make this better. So the same thing when you look at Proverbs chapter 3, verse 15, it says, she is more precious as rubies, and all things that thou canst desire are not to be compared unto her. Oh, but guess what? You got the brain of man. We sitting there, no, we got better things out there than this. We got some better stuff than this. So this is our problem. We don't sit there and trip. We don't sit there and play these little dumb games. We sit there and always think we're going to better something. God made it, and we're going to better it. The Spirit of God is more precious than rubies, the merchandise of the world, including the gold and silver of this world. Everything is in this world, and we desire that. So he said a question and went on once before. Said a question which was once before. And I want to show you the question. I want to show you the question because we got to look at it. We got to look at it. Just see what it is. Because guess what? We all stuck on this same boat. So it ain't like I can point the finger at you. You can't point the finger at somebody else. We all on this boat together. Every one of us is on this cock and picking boat. Every one of us is on this boat. Because guess what? We let them get away with it. Oh, no, we're gonna I'm going to go to social media. I'm going to put, I don't like that. Yeah, okay. So it's actually saying this. In Matthew chapter 16, we're going to pick it up at verse 26. It says, for what is a man profit if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? You tell me. You tell me. See, because some people is going to exchange for their soul and not say nothing. Some people are going to sit there and get a little money. I'm going to change the world. I'm gonna go mix some bat viruses and make them humanized, and I'm gonna stick them in some humans. And we sit right there. And, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. We sit there and, well, let's put this person in office, and it's cool. I'm telling you, we can't get out our own way. We can't get out our own way. Because we let all these things happen. We, as a whole, we let them happen and don't do nothing about it. All we do, let me go to social media. Let me put, I don't like that. Go to my social media. You go to my social media, you'll see what my opinions is on everything. Yeah, really. Really. I remember Nick Cannon had a problem too. When he sat there and he realized who he was, said something, they checked him, guess what? He backed away from every bit of it. Backed away from every bit of it. Why? Money. That money. See, when you put that merchandise, that money stopped it. That money broke him up. And this is the problem. Because many of us are going to chase the things of this world and we're going to exchange it for our soul. So if you're seeking the lifestyles that you always wanted, that's why he's saying this. That's why it says this. It says, or what shall a man give in exchange for a soul? Because a lot of us is going to chase money in the long run. That's what we're going to do, no matter what. I don't care what we do. This is what we're going to chase. So as we sit there and chase it, then what we're going to do, we're going to sit there, we're going to exchange it, thinking, you're going to reason in your own mind and just thinking, okay, I'm good. I'm good. So what you going to profit? What you going to gain? You're going to lose your soul behind it. What you going to do? Well, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this for a little while. I'm going to do this probably for about 4 or 5 years. And then I'm going to fly right. Then I'm going to fly right. Yeah, really. Yeah. This is what we do. We good at doing this. And in fact, we're so good at doing it, I want to take you somewhere. You want to hear it? Here you go. I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to make sure we see it because I'm going to make sure we can't get out our own way. I'm going to make sure we can't get out our own way. In Ezekiel chapter 18, picking up at verse 24. Ezekiel 18, verse 24. And it says something that's going to sit there and should let all of us soak this in. It says, but when the righteous turn away from his righteousness. Oh, so you saying you're righteous, but when you turn away from it, and you got it right here. But he's saying, however, when the righteous turn away from his righteousness, oh, I was against that. You done turned away from it. Oh, because now the spotlight is on you. Now the spotlight is there. Now all of a sudden you, no, I need to change it. Let me back away from this. When that righteous man turned away from his righteousness, no, seeing what he did, but let me just be quiet. When that righteous turned away from his righteousness, no, let me just leave this guy alone. When that righteous turn away from his righteousness, I need to be cool. He committeth iniquity. He committed an act of sin and doeth according to all the abominations that the wicked man doeth. You are counted just like him. Oh, well, Obama is really good, but he just thought people should be this way, and he was cool about it. No big deal. No big deal. No harm, no foul. He wasn't harming nobody. He harming themselves. Yes. So it says, shall he live? So what you say? So don't sit there and put this on somebody else. Put that on you. So put on there, shall you live? That's what you do. Don't put he. Put you. Should you live? Then put should I live? That's what you put there. Should I live? Put that there. Don't put he. Because the first thing we quick to do, we like to sit there and point a finger. We like to point a finger. We like to point a finger on something more. That's what we like doing. We like pointing fingers. We love pointing fingers at all these things. And as we continually point these fingers, we continually think that we're good. We continually think everything is good. This is what we do. We good at doing it. Oh, we good at doing it. See, what I'm saying is this. It said, when a righteous man turned from his righteousness and commit iniquity and doeth according to all abominations, that the wicked man doeth, shall he live. See, it's the same thing as when you see wicked men then killed a lot of black people. Shall he live? The same as you sit there and you look just not too long ago. And same, I believe we talked about it in the back of the class. You had a girl, little girl, she's 14. Her and her mama was shopping. And the cops ran in there like gangbusters, like a fool. There's nothing else to call it. Because you got to remember, they say they highly trained. They spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on police officers training. Understand where I'm coming from? And this robber's in there. And the little girl and her mama try to hide in the dressing room. The cops come in there like fools and shoot and kill the little girl hiding in the dressing room. The mama broke down talking about she can see smoke coming from her daughter's chest. See, but the little girl is white. But people still think it's, oh, well, that's good thing. Well, that's good for her. Okay. Number one, you should have called the police department and told them, I'll tell you what, is that fool still working? Is that fool? See, he ain't nothing else. Is that fool? That same fool. He shouldn't be sitting at a desk. The same fool should be at home trying to get a lawyer, because that same fool should be in jail. But they're going to check it out. See, we let them do us as well we let them do them. That's stupidity. Not on them, that's stupidity on us. Because we let them get away. And first thing they say, well, we're gonna investigate it. What you gonna investigate? A little girl hiding in a dressing room because a guy in there shooting up the place? Are you serious? See, is those abominations? See, all his righteousness that he have done shall not be mentioned. I care less what you did. When you sit there and you think other things is cool, when you believe other things is cool, oh, you screwing yourself. You screwing yourself. These are trespassing and offenses we have committed. Let's look at verse 25. It says, yet ye say, the way of the Creator is not equal. Are you serious? The way of the Creator is not equal. But let's look at something. So here now, House of Israel, is not my way equal? He's asking the question, is not my way equal? Don't play this stupid game with him. Do not play this stupid game with him, because many people gonna play this stupid game. So as he's saying, it's not my way equal. Watch. He says, not equal, or not your ways unequal. So we like to pick and choose what's right. We like to pick and choose what's right. That's why sometimes we want to compare apples and oranges with wisdom. We want to compare silver and gold with wisdom. That's why we do that. And we're quick to do it. In fact, verse 26, it says, when a righteous man turn away from his righteousness, including commit iniquity, and dieth in them, for his iniquity that he has done shall he die. No, I'm going to do you in for this, bro. I'm going to do you in for it. I'm going to do you in for it. See, that same righteous man turned from his lives and committing all kinds of sin, have a lustful lifestyle, and he died in the acts of him, committed. His righteousness, I don't care what he did. In righteousness, it's a wrap. You got a lot of people sitting there, you got people teach, well, guess what? Where he has sinned, and all these sins he has done now, but he had built up so much in the bank, he can sin, he's cool on his sin. I don't know where we get these doctrines from. It don't happen. Let's look at it a little bit more. It says this. It says again, when the wicked turn away from his wickedness and commit and doeth that which is lawful and right, he should save his soul alive. Exactly the point. So he sells and gives to the poor, meaning you don't worry about what's here. You make sure the other ones can be taken care of. The same thing what got you rich, you might get somebody else to be rich to where they can get out of the way and get somebody else rich to where you can get out of the way and they can get somebody else, and they can keep gaining, because what you want to do, you want to be wealthy in the kingdom. That's why he told that young man, hey, sell all you got. You got treasure in heaven. That's why he was telling him this. In fact, let's look at verse 28. It says, because he considereth and turneth away from his transgressions. He turneth and turn away from his transgressions. And he hath committed, and he shall surely live, and he shall not die. Exactly the point. This is exactly the point that we need to make sure we understand. Because wealth is in the eye of the beholder. Wealth is in the eye. It's in the understanding of the beholder of what things are in this world. So you have temporal things. You have temporal things that is in this world, and the life is also to be temporal. Everything temporal do come to an end. Anything temporal do come to an end. Transgressions is nothing but offenses are just, and if we commit them, we will die in them. He's clear on this. It's not complex. And the reason it's not complex, because we sit there and we want to value things here over things that is eternal. And we start valuing things that are eternal and look at them less, and we hold these things at high value. This is why flesh can boast over the spirit. It's craziness. In verse 29, it says this. It says, Yet said the house of Israel, the way of the Creator is not equal. It's impossible. It's impossible. And it says, not equal, O house of Israel, is not my ways equal and your ways unequal? You see, he's asking these questions. See, we need to know that the way of the Creator is not equal to our ways. And his ways is unequal to our ways, and they're not equal. So we must remember the ways of God is not the ways of ours. It's like comparing apples to oranges, and we don't have an apple or orange to compare to God. It's impossible. Impossible. In verse 30 it says this, for that reason I judge you. I will teach you. That's what he's telling. I will teach you, O house of Israel, according to his ways, saith the Creator God. I'm going to teach you. Remember and turn yourselves from your transgressions so iniquity shall not be your ruin. You see how he said he don't want iniquity to be your ruin. He said, I'm gonna teach you. But many of us, no, we don't need that. We don't need that. And you do. Each and every one of us need this. Each and every one of us need to make sure we paying attention to God. But watch, let's go. It says, cast away from you your transgressions. Cast this away, your offenses. It says, whereby ye have transgressed, and make you a new heart and a new spirit. For why will ye die, O house of Israel? What you gonna die for? What we doing to get into so many things to die for? Why are we getting into these things to die? He's telling us. He's telling us right here, cast away. Cast these things, cast away from you your transgressions. Cast these things out the way. Why are we going to get caught up with this? See, this is what we get really into. And this is why we have so many problems. Because we get caught up in this. And he tells us right up front, he says, for I have no pleasure in death. He don't have no pleasure in death. He says of him that dieth, said the Creator God, you don't have no pleasure in it. Wherefore turn yourselves and live. You do it, he's letting you know, you do it, I'm going to do you. You try me, grade me, is what he's saying. Try me, grade me afterwards. Because the main thing is what he's telling you all the time. In verse 16, he tells you this over in Proverbs chapter 3, verse 16. It says, length of days is in her right power. The length of days is in her. And in her left hands of riches and honor. All this knowledge that's just sitting there. So as we know this, and we know this thing is there. We know this is there. It's clearly there. So as he's saying that, let's look at this in Deuteronomy chapter 6. Deuteronomy 6, and we're going to pick it up at verse 24. It says, including the Spirit of God commanded us to do all these statutes, to desire the Spirit of our God for our good always, that he may preserve us alive as it is this day. You see what he's saying over here. Our length of days is in the right hand. And in the left hand is the hand of riches and honor. That's our knowledge that we need. That's all he's saying. And we sitting there saying, if we want to be preserved alive, we need her. We need to get rid of this earthly thoughts, this earthly way of being rich. Verse 25 is clear. Verse 25 is clear in Deuteronomy. Why? Because it tells us. It says, and it should be our righteousness if we observe and do all these commandments before the Spirit of our God as he have commanded us. He don't have pleasure in killing you, but don't try him. He don't have pleasure in killing you, but don't try him. You try him, he gonna do you. You try him, he is going to do you. And this shall be our righteousness, if we observe and do all these commandments before the Spirit of our God. So our desire is the same thing as what he said. Our length of days is in her right hand. It's in the Spirit of God's right hand. It's in the power of it. She giving us the power, and in the left hand, we getting the knowledge and the understanding. We getting it. Getting power on one side, we getting the knowledge and understanding on the other. But it leaves up to us on what we're going to do. It's completely up to us on what we're going to do. So with that, we're gonna be picking up from next week at verse 17. We're picking up next week at verse 17. So hopefully, you guys will be able to join there, and we can go from there. But the main thing is, we're gonna. If you look at the bottom, some of you guys might have to You might have to refresh because I had put the link in there a little bit late. But you'll see the link for the summary meeting that is in Zoom. So if you haven't had a chance, you're more than welcome to go in there. You're more than welcome to go in there to get it, to sit there and see what's happening there. So with that, we're gonna go through there, and you can actually click on it. We can get the summary meeting. And same thing, like I said, we do have an announcement back there where we're going to be going through some exercises. And if you like to be part of it, make sure that you're able to join. Come in the back, you can see what's getting ready to go on. And I can show you pretty much most of the sample document. I will be having the document completed by this weekend. And then it'll go out to where you can download it, to where we can prepare for the assignment. So with that, I hope that each and every person understood what was going on. We're going to go in the back and get the precepts of it. But until then, I say to each and every person, until that time, shalom.